when done right, boxing is the best sport in the world.
There's a right hand! Fury finding his groove.
But boxing's the Wild West of sport.
It's a gypsy king!
I'm coming for his heart.
We're gonna eat this.
The wait is over.
This is boxing. This is Top Rank.
I have shame when I say I'm a promoter. It's like the bad word, the evil empire. That bothers me.
This isn't a normal world. You're dealing with guys that get punched in the face for a living.
This is the main event!
His heart's beating out of his body. I'm in his mind.
Them, we saved the fight.
I hated the fight because I hated the style.
Yeah.
If I were to lose this fight, I probably wouldn't fight again.
Hey Todd, well, it's always great seeing you. We're here, Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol. I mean, an unbelievable fight, a fight for the boxing purists. Probably the best fight in boxing right now. We get it October the 12th. It's going to be great.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. The only thing I'm disappointed was I really wanted it in June. All right, and you know we got a little postponement, but we're off and rolling, and I just love the styles, characters. You know, as you know, Artur doesn't say much. He just says. He knows.
Yeah. Listen, it's funny because I interviewed Artur earlier on and we talked about the knee and he said, yes, listen, it's back and it's better than it ever was. And this is the fight that he's always wanted. He actually talked a lot more than I was expecting him to, which is a first because, as you say, I've interviewed him in the past and he's a man of few words.
Scary. This guy is so scary. When we first signed him in Canada, I sat across the table and I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? Yeah. And it reminded me back in the early 90s when I went to meet Mike Tyson at Freddie Roach's gym, and he gave me those piercing black eyes. He like looks up at you, and I was like right next to Artur, and I'm like, this guy is just treacherous. How scary he feels and his energy is, but what he does in the ring. Hello. Yeah. I love it? I love it?
He backs it up, man. Like you say, like he was my first interview today, and he comes in. There's this aura around him where you go like. You feel his presence in the room and you sit there and you think, I don't want to say the wrong thing to this guy because he has got that menacing sort of look and that's sort of the way he fights as well. I mean, he's the biggest monster in world boxing right now.
Absolutely. But the interesting thing about him is, you know, right after the Yard fight, we all sat around. You know, we always do this thing. You're as good as your last fight or your last performance. And we're like, you know what? He may be missing a step. He got hit a lot. He got cracked. You know, he's squared up. And then all of a sudden, the Callum fight came, and all of a sudden he looked like he was 10 years younger. He tightened up. He kept his guard up. He put pressure on him, then threw and just dismantled. So I said that to him at the press conference. I said, boy, you really looked young. He says, I felt so good that night. I got to be a better fighter. The guy's in his late 30s saying he's going to be a better fighter. What's going on?
It's insane. I spoke to him the same thing. I asked him the question. I said, look, what's the secret here? What's in the water out there, you know, in Canada? What's going on here? Because you're getting better with age. You're now 39. You showed against Callum Smith that you've got that adaptability. You're not just a monster. You've got boxing IQ, and you can adapt, and you can actually adjust, which makes him a formidable force. But how does he do that at 39?
I don't know. I think a lot of it is just the pedigree, right? When you have such a deep pedigree, you have the ability to adapt. And probably when you get cracked by Yard the way he did, he felt it. Yeah. And he's like, well, I'm not going to last too long. I mean, we saw, you know, maybe AJ should have taken a couple pointers here, right? He should have learned from the Ruiz fight to tighten it up a bit because the chin is still up and kaboom, as he said, right? I think Artur learned, right? He's like, I don't want to be kaboom. I want to go out there and be tight and take these guys apart, and I'm going to give them and take them.
You look through the history of boxing and you see the monsters of the sport, and the monsters generally can't go to the place that Artur went when he boxed Anthony Yard. As in, what I'm saying is a lot of the monsters are actually bullies, and when it's given back to them, you see them sort of come unfold a little bit. But Artur's like the complete package, right?
I've never, you know, it's interesting you say that. It's like, does the bully get out bullied? Right? I think a lot of people thought that when somebody stood up to Tyson, like Holyfield did, it was the first time we saw the bully get out bullied, right? And I think what happened with Tyson in his era was before the fight, the opponent was whittled down. His mind was so feeble, he was just falling apart because he's like, I'm in the ring with Mike Tyson. Listen, this Artur Beterbiev, you're in the ring with him. I'm scared to be at the press conference. I'm just telling you, forget about in a ring with him.
And Dmitry Bivol is the polar opposite. Actually, he's a very nice, pleasant guy, technician, and it's a fascinating fight for so many reasons. And we've got an unbelievable card there, an unbelievable undercard on the 12th of October as well. But I want to talk to you about your involvement, with Saudi Arabia, Riyadh season, how good that is for boxing, and now it's bringing Top Rank, Matchroom, Boxer now getting involved, and all the other companies are pulling together now. And the fans are the winners, actually, because we're getting the fights that we've longed for so long. But politics of boxing with, pay-per-view splits, different broadcasters, etc., getting in the way. Now that all seems to have changed. Good for boxing, right?
I think there's a really good position that it's taken. I think it's taken a nice path. I think you're seeing, the involvement of the Riyadh season and His Excellence really bridge the gap between where there were sometimes we felt like there was a 10-mile gap between the two sides. If it was the broadcasters or the economic demands, and he's been able to narrow that. And he's been able to narrow what his mission is. And I think it's great for the sport, and we'll see how it plays out over the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, you've been involved in the sport for so long now. You've been around a long time, and we are getting these fights. Anthony Joshua last week as well, Wembley Stadium. Wow, what an upset that was, by the way. Did you expect that from Daniel Dubois?
I'm not going to say I predicted it, but I felt it was a 50-50 fight. I think both have dynamite punches and great power in both hands, and they both show suspect chins. And I felt, I talked to George Warren the week before, and I'm like, whoever gets to whoever's chin first may dictate the pace of this fight.
Where do you see AJ going from here? Does he have to go back into the immediate rematch? I mean, that rebuilding thing surely is gone now. Like, he has to now, he's at that stage of his career where maybe he has to try and right the wrongs of that fight.
This is, we talked about this with our guy, Jared Anderson. People said to me, where does he go now? I think there's a lot of wait, I'm going to go look in the mirror for both of these guys. What do I want to do? What does Jared want to do? What does Anthony want to do? I think he's been tremendous representation for the sport. Great for this heavyweight renaissance. But on the other hand, I'm not sure where he goes. I don't believe in automatic rematches. I think they're kind of like nonsense. I think it takes the prize out of the prize fight. I think if the fans want to see it, then you should do it. Sure. Right? That's when it happens. Sure. I'm not sure that you take a rematch with Dubois to rebuild yourself. I think his rebuilding is in his brain, not anywhere else. He's got to rebuild it psychologically.
Totally. Listen, I wanted to say, have you seen this incredible idea that Matchroom are doing now with the Netflix thing, that they've got this Netflix series coming out? They're following around Eddie Hearn and all that. What a great idea!
I didn't know that. Is that going on?
That's going on. Yeah, I actually believe that you've done a similar thing with ESPN, but only 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah. By the way, we've had cameras following us, including Eddie being at our fights, following him for the last 2 years. I've been chronicling, the life, our lives, the ecosystem that exists in boxing, and basically, I call it the sausage making in a way, and it's called the fight life.
Right.
And it's really interesting. It's like, how did this happen? What was the genesis of it? And a lot of people don't know what we do. It's like boxing promoter. It's like, what the hell is a boxing promoter? I always say I'm a movie producer, but they don't roll out a red carpet. They put me in front of a Senate hearing, right? It's a totally different thing. But we really are producing sports. We're producing a global sport all over the world. And I would be sitting there talking to people, and they're like, your business is fascinating, right?
What goes on behind the scenes?
Well, they don't know that my fighter just got arrested. We have one fighter that's making $3 million. The other guy's making $300,000. The other guy comes in, the $3 million guy comes in 3 pounds over and won't lose a weight, right? And they're like, dude, is the fight going to happen? You have to deal with this every day? What's going on in the gyms? What's going on with the family members? We see this all the time. And on the other hand, we're sitting there in our office with our team deciding hey, do we want to see this match? Is this the right fight for him here? Is this the right city to go to? And, we all felt like, hey, there's possibly a story here. There's possibly show people the ecosystem, how our lives are every day, airplane to airport to arena to press conference to everything.
Behind the scenes stuff. I mean, that is what fans, especially the hardcore boxing fans, they want to see that. They want to know what it's like behind the scenes. I think that's fantastic, Todd, that you're doing that. That's ESPN. You've season 1's done, right? Is that
season
correct?
1's done. Yeah. I mean,
and how do fans
just do this in like 2 minutes? By the way,
we
didn't just hit an edit pay, right, on our phones and start like this.
Yeah.
Right?
You're on season 2 now.
We are on season 2 now.
How do fans watch this?
I mean, they're going to watch it on ESPN and ESPN Plus, and in international, we can be distributing it to all of our partners. Brilliant. So we'll be announcing in each territory where we're going. But we really think this is fun. It's compelling. You get to see it. It's real, and we just think it's a different perspective. So much, and I say this, so much of our creation of content that we do is fighter-centric, event-centric. We get everybody to tune into an event. It was so formulaic. There was something more there. There was something evergreen. And this is what this is.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fight life.
Absolutely love that. I think that boxing's being reinvented in so many ways, and now getting to go behind the scenes in what's going on in the promoter's life, and behind the scenes with Top Rank and Matchroom or wherever it lands. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic.
I just don't know why my damn camera crew isn't here getting me doing this shit with you. This is behind the scenes. Nobody's seeing this.
And I'm actually not getting it.
Yeah, but they should have gotten me. Where's our crew? This is part of it.
Oh,
I'm going to have you sign a waiver because your ass is going to be on the show.
That's man. On that note, I'm going to have to end this interview. This time, man. That's true. No, but